Are you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.
Get some marathons who won't have fun until next time. We're good-natured sons tossed out into twilight.
And what do you think about these incredible song? This is Samaritans, and the name of the band is Postcards from Jeff. We have the pleasure to have with us today Josh Worthington, who is the author and really producer behind this fantastic music. Hi Josh, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time and participating with this beautiful Samaritans song. Why don't you take the floor and begin introducing yourself, your music, your project?
So my artist name is Postcards from Jeff, and I pretty much write and record all the instruments and produce it all myself. And I've kind of Postcards from Jeff kind of started out about started releasing stuff in 2013, 2014. I say we, I mean I, but I'd done other projects before, which were kind of solo project. Put records out under the name Western Suburbs for a while. But since sort of 2013, 2014, I've been releasing music as Postcards from Jeff. Although I've had a little bit of a break, and I'm about to start releasing a lot more music over the coming few years. But I've been pretty busy the last 5 years working as a producer, working with other bands, and I kind of rebuilt my studio from scratch, and I've had a big sort of long period of just kind of immersing myself in sound production and developing my sound, really. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
It does.
A little bit.
Does. This is fantastic. Yeah. It's amazing. The quality. Absolutely, you can tell. There's a professional producer behind. And what do you do for the instruments? Like, tell us a little bit about how's gonna your project. Like, how do you go about producing a song?
How I write, just very kind of stream of consciousness, really, just going with an idea, and I don't even go into an idea, really. I turn up in the studio and start messing about, really, and things start to come, and usually the songs are what you're hearing is you're hearing the finished version and the demo as well, because I usually kind of get the arrangement of the song quite quickly and the structure quite quickly, but then it's just a case of I kind of strip things back and then throw a lot of things into it and then take them out and add a lot of textures and just work on it until it kind of sounds right. So the songs can take many twists and turns, and it's a bit like painting in a way, where a painter just throws a lot of paint at the canvas and then kind of carves out certain spaces and little sort of lines and images and until it just sort of it sounds or feels right, really. And it can be quite a lengthy process for me to do to get to a point where it feels right. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like there's a sort of a big sort of soundscape going on in the music, and sort of lots of subtle layers and textures, and it takes me a while to sort of feel like it's finished. So yeah, that's how I do it, really. I definitely don't turn things around particularly quickly, but I'm trying to get better at that. Definitely.
It takes what it takes, definitely.
Yeah.
What is your North Star when you're searching for the right direction? What would you say that? What is that ingredient? What is that you're running after? And to follow up that, well, you said when it's finished. When is it finished?
Well, it's. I mean, you're chasing a feeling, really. You chasing some kind of connection that you have to the song, and it's not always clear, really, from the beginning what it is, and or why you decide to stick with certain songs over other ones. There's just something, just some sense of something else about the song which keeps intriguing you and captivating you and keeps going back to it, and in the same process, it's also that kind of thing that draws you to the song, where you just have this sense where it's just not quite finished, or it's just not quite there, and that's the sort of dangerous time where you can kind of get into this over sort of perfectionism, really, which can be dangerous. But you just get to a point where either I've basically recorded every single version of the song that could ever possibly exist, and this is the only one that I can ever hear now, or or you've just had enough of the song and you just say enough is enough, really. So, but it's mostly I just get to a sense where it just feels right, it sounds right, and it just feels right, and whatever it is that I'm trying to sort of draw on in the song, it just makes sense, even if it doesn't always make sense logically what I'm singing about. It makes sense internally somehow, and that's my North Star, I suppose.
Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic, beautiful. What would you say is your primary instrument when you're composing, when you're writing?
Well, for that song and around that era, it was I kind of I often start with bass lines. For that song, I definitely, it was the bass line, which I started with, and then I'll sort of build up drums around it, and then bits of guitar and add sort of keyboard synthesizer textures on top of it, and then I'll kind of experiment with that and sort of process things and so that it might be a guitar sound, but I'll process it in a way where it sounds like a synthesizer and things like that. So, or sometimes I take a keyboard sound and make it sound more like a guitar or something like that. So it's kind of hard to tell what is what, and just trying to build this wall of sound. So, I'm very much a jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, guitar is definitely my primary instrument, but when I'm writing it can like I say, it can start from a bass line, or it can start from a piano melody. But at the moment, I've kind of gone back to sort of more acoustic guitar and singing again, which I haven't done for a while. So yeah, that's how I work.
Love it. And so you feel that when you tell me I started with the bass line, that really strikes a chord. How important, because I recognize your style a little bit. I would like to ask you as well about your influences, but how important is it for these type of music that you do, the rhythm section, the drums and the bass?
Well, yeah. I mean, bass was my first instrument that I started playing. So and to be honest, I was always quite a simple bass player. But then, you know, I was never that technically great, and I'm not technically that great on any instrument, to be honest with you. But then I never really liked bands. I was never influenced by bands who were particularly overly musical. You know, I mean, I appreciate some of that stuff more now as I've got older, but the bands that when I was growing up were very simplistic with their style, and you know, like let's say a band like the Pixies had very sort of very precise sort of driving bass lines which underpinned all the songs, and I've always liked that, you know, as a starting point for my own songs, just a very kind of simple sort of driving bass, which is kind of also melodically underpinning the song at sort of key points in the song. So yeah, I mean, bass is extremely important to me. Drums is really important. I mean, I'm just drum sounds, where they sit in a mix is massively important. You know, I tend to have kick drum very loud, and I quite like, you know, roomy sounds as well from the kit. So yeah, the rhythm's massively important, even though some of the songs I do, you know, they may not sound that complex rhythmically. The sound of the rhythm section is really key, even if they're playing quite simplistic, minimalistic kind of stuff. That's still really important, even if it's not as flamboyant as you know, a more virtuoso kind of drum and rhythm style. So if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
To me, I'm of the same opinion, a very similar taste as well. It's a lot more important what the music is saying to me, is communicating in the sensical feeling, and beyond the complexity, you know.
Yeah,
that's what harmony and is all about, right? So
absolutely, that's probably more where I'm coming from. You know, that like you say, that sense of harmony and the sense of harmony mixing like a lot of different sounds and textures together and making them just kind of sit together rather than being one kind of, you know, virtuoso lead guitar player and the whole song revolving around that. You know, that's definitely not what I do. It's every part is kind of, it's, you know, it's kind of small but contributing to a greater wall of sound, really. So
beautiful. So you know, like if you want to tell us a little something unique about the person behind the music, and for example, if you would like to tell us why is that you made a pause and you pause for a little bit making music. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, a pause. Well, to be honest, I've never stopped making music. I just haven't been putting records out for a while. Just because I kind of, you know, it's hard putting a record out yourself, and I did that and had some success, but then, you know, it's quite difficult managing that yourself, and it wasn't until a few years afterwards where sort of, you know, I got a bit more recognition with the record, really, and you know, some sort of TV. Some of the songs have been used on TV shows and things like that, and that gradually sort of has driven more of an audience to the record. So for a while, I was a little bit frustrated because, you know, I'd sort of put a lot into it, and it's like I say, it's very hard to kind of get it out into the world. But as well, I changed. As I said, I also record and produce other bands, and I did a major change to my studio where I work, and for 18 months, I was pretty much rebuilding the studio where I work, and so after that 18 months, also I had a lot of new equipment and had to sort of almost start again, or at least, you know, familiarize myself with all the new equipment. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and I spent a lot of time sort of experimenting with, I guess, going in a slightly different direction, trying a few different things, and you know, a lot of dead ends with that. But eventually, I'm getting now to a place where I've got a lot of material which I've, you know, which has accumulated over this kind of period, and has gone through a lot of heavy experimentation, and is sort of coming out of that now and sort of ready to be sort of, you know, pushed towards a more clearer, defined sound, really. So, yeah, in a nutshell, a lot of experimentation really has gone on, but I'm definitely ready to come out of that and get some music out in the world again, because, you know, it's just no good it all staying inside the studio and never leaving here. So that's
definitely looking forward to the new material.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you want to tell us a little bit of that venture, how were you able to you know, introduce your music into TV?
Yeah, well, yeah, luckily, I sort of did a production course in France, and you know, I met a lot of other producers, and another producer there liked my music, and he worked for a company in France which you know, do music placements in TV and film. So my songs ended up through them getting licensed to TV, and I had one song, "Suburban Girl," which was the first single from the album that's been used in Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid TV series. So you know, a lot of people sort of found me after that, which has been really nice. But also, you know, some of the other songs have been used on some European TV programs as well. So it's been nice, really, that's kind of kept an interest in what I do, and it's just nice to see the music being used and being out there and hitting a bigger audience than I could do personally, you know. So yeah, that's been great.
Well, wonderful. We celebrate you and congratulate you for it.
Hopefully,
absolutely. Hopefully that will serve to for your music to be found and enjoyed the way that it deserves. And you know, normally we and I want to be mindful of your time as well. I don't want to abuse it. So, if you had to decide, what advice would you give your younger self? Where do you think that'd be?
God, I can't. This could take a while. It's difficult. I mean, in some ways, it would be just to stay on the path that I've stayed on, really, and probably believe in it a bit more. I think I perhaps have got sidetracked in experimenting with lots of different things, maybe a little bit too much. But then, you know, it's hard to have regrets, because it's probably made me, you know, better at what I do now in doing that. But I've probably definitely gone down a lot of dead ends, and, you know, like I say, experiment with things which I really probably should have just realized was not that great, and should have stuck with what I was doing a bit at times. But, you know, it's all good. I'm past that now. I'm definitely firmly sticking with what I do, and I'm really I'm enjoying it more than ever. So I'm really excited just to get some new material out very, very soon.
Lovely. All right, so fantastic. Thank you so much, Joss. Your music is really excellent. We are always happy to find this level of quality, and people are really trying to put some beautiful music into the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for listening, and thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely, a pleasure. All right, so we're going to enjoy a little bit more of Samaritans. This is Postcards from Jeff. Until next one.
Not the only one to get locked out after midnight. We're the fucked up ones who believe in our make them sing about the talk of the town. Getting caught with your pants down. So say you will pack your bag pretty soon. We'll get some marathons. We won't have fun.
Are you tired of the typical libraries with conventional music that makes you feel meh? Introducing Leerecs.com, the music website made for and by minds like you. Our team are lifelong musicians and producers in love with music. Search the Leerecs music catalogs and find music with guaranteed originality. Mark the difference with music of signature at Leerecs.com.